Alright, before we get to the main quest, I really want to sell off some of my potions because I've been hoarding a ton of them. And yeah, 99 potions. So I can't carry anymore. It's too full. And I thought I would use them, and I really needed them throughout my journey, but I decided to save them for the tougher battles, you know? Turns out I didn't need it for the boss battle. So I don't know what that was about, but this might take a while, so I'm really sorry, guys. I might have to cut this out. Just bear with me, okay? Hello everybody, I'm Leonomai, and I'm going to teach you how to modify your merchant script so that you can sell more than one item at a time. So let's get to it. Let's go to File, and I'm going to load up a new project here. I'm going to go to beginner mode so that we can load some preset data. And then I'm going to go to File, Preferences, and switch to hard mode so that we can edit the scripts. I'm also going to turn off the music because I'm going to add music in post anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Let's go to Scripts and create a new script. We're going to create 3 scripts. The first one is called Merchant Input. And what this script is going to do is it's going to ask the user, how many items would you like to sell? And the user will be able to input a value. Let's create a message. The message is going to say, how many would you like to sell? Untick close window, because we're not finished with that message just yet. We're gonna put in an interface that allows users to choose a value. And the maximum value is going to be 99 because the bag inventory can only hold up to a maximum of 99 items. Of any particular item, I mean. Down below, this is where the interface appears on screen. We're going to move it to the right. Actually, you can move it anywhere you want, but I like to move it to the right. And I leave some space underneath because that's where the message is going to be. And then we're going to close the message after they input a number. So screen display text close message window. We're going to add a script branch condition. We're going to check to see if they inputted the number 0, in which case no transaction will take place because you can't sell no items. So variable user input 0. And then within that condition, we are going to go to data variable. We're going to select a variable that you can really choose any variable that you want. You can create your own. In this case, I'm just going to use a temporary variable. Temp variable 0, and that's going to be equal to 0. I don't know if this is true, but I heard that in real-world programming, quote-unquote, temporary variables are generally frowned upon. So I don't know because I'm not a programmer, but let me know in the comments if you know, like if you're a programmer, are temporary variables frowned upon? I feel like this is okay though, because in RPG Maker 2 you're only allowed what was it, like 1,000 variables to choose from, and like 200 of them are already used. So What this variable is going to represent are two things. It's going to represent how many items you sell, and it's also going to represent how many of any particular item are in the character's inventory. So it's going to count how many items. And it'll make sense. Once you see this next script, it'll make sense. So we're done with that script. We're gonna create a new script and call it check quantity. This script is going to check the character's inventory as well as the bag's inventory. There's two inventories. We're going to create two condition branches for both of those. We're going to check a flag called 003 bag shop select, and what this flag represents is which inventory you have selected from. So if it's off, that means it's the character's inventory. If it's on, it's the bag's inventory. The first one is going to check the bag's inventory. We're going to copy this and paste it underneath, and we're going to check the character's inventory. So it's going to be off for the second one. And I highly recommend this. I recommend that you add a note to remind yourself what these are for. So check bag's inventory is going to be the first one. It's going to get, really cumbersome if you don't add notes for yourself. So I know for me, I like to be organized. Check characters inventory. So for the first one, for the first condition right in the middle, we're going to load game data. And the reason for this is to load information. The information that we are trying to get is the number of items in the bag. And we're going to go to data, variable. Temp variable 0 is going to be equal to user input. And user input is the user input from the previous script. You might be wondering why I'm creating a separate script. Again, just to be organized. I like to create separate scripts and name them just so there's no confusion. It's a lot better than creating one giant, monster script. I don't like doing that because then I get confused and it's just really complicated. We're going to create a condition. We're going to check to see if total items, so that you can find right here, the ID for that is 80. It's a variable called total items. Now total items is a variable that represents a specific item in the bag's inventory. It represents the total number of a specific item in the bag's inventory. Gosh, that's a mouthful. First time I played RPG Maker 2, this was really confusing. It's very misleading. It is not the total number of items that you have in both the character's inventory and the bag's inventory. It only applies to the bag's inventory, and it's a specific item. It's not the total number of items of all items that you have in the bag, if that makes any sense. Okay, I feel like I'm over-explaining things, but let's move on here. We're going to check to see if total items is less than user input. In other words, if you have 5 HP potions and you want to sell 8, well, that's not going to fly because you only have 5. So we are going to change temp variable to 0, or temp variable 0 to 0. Alright, we're done with that first part. Now the second part is a little bit lengthy, but it shouldn't be too bad. The first thing we're going to do is change temp variable 0 to 0. I know that seems kind of redundant, but this is just a safe a safeguard because temp variable 0 is going to be repurposed for a different, for something different. Instead of representing the number of items you're going to sell, it's going to represent the number of a particular item in the character's inventory. We have to load member info. So the information that we're looking for is how many items does a character have, or how many of a specific item does a character have. And that's why we have to load member info. We're going to create a condition. We're going to check to see... We're going to check item number 1. Now, if you'll notice, there are 12 of these, and that's because there are 12 item slots. Like, in other words, a character can only carry up to 12 items. We're going to check the first slot to see if it is equal to variable number 134, which is the item number. Item number represents the ID number of a specific item. And if you want to know what that item number is, you can go to the item database. And when you go to the item database, it shows you on the left all the numbers. There's a number associated with the item that you create. And you don't really have to be concerned with what that number is. In fact, I don't know what the number is. The number is always changing, especially if you're moving items around in the database. But it doesn't really matter. This is basically asking, is the HP potion equal, or no, is slot number 1 equal to, you know, HP potion, or whatever item you're looking for. And if it is, we're going to change temp variable 0. Oops. It's going to be equal to itself plus 1. So we're going to add 1 to this variable every time we find that item that we're looking for. We're going to copy this condition, these 3 lines right here, and we're going to paste it just under, so we're still inside that, that mother condition, but right next to the smaller condition, sandwiched in between. We're going to paste that and edit this condition. Instead of checking item number 1, we're going to go to item number 2, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to copy and paste, editing that condition. So 3 all the way to 12. We're checking every single item slot for that item. Six. You might be wondering, how does it know which character? Because you can have up to 4 characters in your party. Well, that's dictated by the merchant script, I believe. It already knows what member you have selected, so you don't have to worry about that. And item number 10. I could create my own custom merchant script, but honestly, that would take me like 3 hours. 3-hour tutorial, which I'm not willing to do. I think that would just be too much. Alright. We're gonna create one more condition. This is where I am right here. I'm still inside the mother condition right next to the smaller condition that we just placed. We're going to create another condition. And this is going to check user input, whether it's going to check to see if it's less than temp. And so the reason why we have this is because remember that temp variable 0 was being repurposed. It's used for counting the number of items in a character's inventory. Let's say you have 12 HP potions, but you only want to sell 6. It counted 12, so temp variable 0 is 12. But user input is 6. If user input is less than 12, or 6 less than 12, which in this example it is, then temp variable 0 is going to equal to user input. So now we're repurposing it back to the original purpose. Now it's going to equal, temp variable 0 is now going to represent how many you're actually going to sell. So I hope that's not too confusing. I feel like I'm overcomplicating things by only using one variable. I should have used 2, but I feel like this is easier. For me at least, it's easier. If you want to, you can add some notes. I don't know. I mean, this is the easiest way for me personally. Okay, the next thing we are going to do, we're done with that mother condition. I'm going to add a divider, or actually I'm going to add a note, and it's going to say not enough items to sell. So this is going to be the condition where you have, let's say, 5 HP potions, but you want to sell 8. And you can't sell 8 because you only have 5. Let's add a condition. We're going to check to see if temp variable 0 is less than user input. So in other words, if the number you want to sell is higher than what you actually have, it's going to say, sorry, untick close window, because we're not done with that. We're going to check 2 conditions. We're going to check the bag shop select again, so the flag. We're going to check to see if it's off, and we're also going to check to see if it's on. If it's off, we're going to do a message, space, just the space, and untick close window. I know that it seems kind of weird, but you'll see. The space is there for a reason. Text content. Oops. Content. Input. Common name. And common name is the name of... in this case, it's going to be the name of the character. So it's going to say, sorry, Verk. And then another message after that, comma, you don't have enough. If you want to be really fancy, you can actually say you don't have enough HP potions. You can actually do that. I don't remember off the top of my head how to do that, but I know you use text content input, and I think it's one of these. Actually, I think it's common name. That's what it is. But you have to load the ID number. Like I said, I don't remember. I think it has something to do with the ID number of the item, and then you have to load data, and then I don't know. It's too complicated. I'm not gonna do that. So it's just gonna say you don't have enough. For this condition, if you're using the bag, the message is going to say, sorry, comma, there's not enough in the bag. Close window. And then right here, sandwiched in between these condition ends, we're still inside that condition, but right next to the smaller condition, we're gonna go to data variable temp variable 0 0. It's going to be equal to 0. I'm just doing this as a safeguard. I'm not sure if this line is necessary, but it's there just to ensure that there are no bugs, because we don't want any transactions to take place just because there shouldn't be any. So we're done with this script. Let's create a new script. This is the third and final one, I promise you. It's called cell quantity, and it's the easiest, one of the more easier scripts to do. Let me look at my notes here. Okay. Now this is really optional. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to create some sound effects because we all like sound effects. Let's create a condition. If temp variable 0, actually no, that's not necessary, is it? No, I don't have to create a condition. Sorry. Let's go to sound effects. And I chose sound effect 101. Which one is that? Freeze. And I set the pitch to 10. Oops. I'm gonna copy that, paste it. Now what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to recreate the sound of like coins being thrown onto a table or something. And I found out that these sound effects work particularly well. I don't know if they're the best, but they sound pretty cool in my opinion. So I'm gonna change the pitch for the second one. I'm gonna copy that, paste it. I'm gonna change this to Magic 2, which is number 115 on the list. And the pitch for the first one is gonna be 10. The pitch for the second one is gonna be 12. You can do anything you want, it doesn't really matter. But I'm gonna do an apply together in the beginning because I want all these sounds to play all at the same time, and then apply in order at the very end. Okay, so those are the sound effects. Now I'm going to actually sell the items. So let's create a condition called, or sorry, not a condition, a repeating branch, and select variable temp variable 0 is not equal to 0. This is a loop. This is going to keep looping and selling the item one at a time until temp variable 0 goes down to 0. We're going to go to data, system, item action, sell. It only sells the item one time, which is why we have this repeating branch. And then we want to change temp variable 0. It's going to be equal to itself minus 1. If we didn't do this, it would just loop forever and ever, and that's not going to be good, because once you're stuck in a loop, I don't think there's really much you can do. Actually, you might be able to get out of it. I'm not sure though. Okay. I think that's it for that script. We're nearly done. We just have to apply these 3 scripts to our pre-made merchant script. The ID for that is 243. And what you want to do is look for the note that says selling. So we want to scroll down. There it is. Okay, once you spot that, scroll down a little bit more until you see data item sell. we're going to delete that. And in its place, we're going to put, right above thank you, we're going to put script. Where is it? Where's my notes? Script. Call script merchant input. We're going to copy that, paste it. We're going to call the second script check quantity. And then we want to put a condition that checks to see if there will be any sort of transaction going on. We want to check temp variable 0. If it's not equal to 0, meaning that there is going to be a transaction, and if that's the case, then we want to call the last script that we made, sell quantity. And also, a final note, we want to take this thank you right here and delete it. Copy it and delete it, paste it right below sell quantity, right inside of that condition branch. If we didn't do that, then the merchant would say thank you regardless if you sold anything or not, which is kind of a bug, in my opinion. So make sure you do that, and we should be done, finally. You have no idea how happy I am to make this tutorial. It was okay. Let's test this. Actually, let me go back. Let me go back and give ourselves some items. Okay, just to test it. Let's go to the party members inventory. Let's go to Verk. Custom items. Let's give them some herbs. Let's give them more than one. A few of those, maybe some antidotes. Alright, let's test play. I hope this works. I really do. I've modified the script several times, trying to make it as best as I could possibly make it. Oh, oops. I selected buy. Let's sell. Okay, this is the character's inventory. So we have 3 herbs. I'm gonna try to sell 4. And it shouldn't sell anything because I don't have 4, I have 3. Sorry, Verk, you don't have enough. Yes! Let's try to sell 2. Alright. Got 8 gold, that's correct. And we have 1 herb left, that's correct. I'm gonna try to sell 2 antidotes. Okay, good. Let's try the bag, see if that works. Okay, we have 15 herbs. Let's try to sell 16. Sorry, there's not enough in the bag. Alright, let's sell 7. I had turbo mode on without realizing it. Sorry about that. Alright. It pretty much works. I'm so happy to be done. Okay. I wish I kept some of my footage so I could do like a behind the scenes. That probably wouldn't be very interesting, but I've tried for 3 weeks trying to create this tutorial, and I'm finally done. I'm free. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and thank you for subscribing. I'll see you later.